Chapter 788, Cards Revealed, The True Traitor's Identity. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. All right, Yulian, go and complete the Gu formation. As long as you go through this last round, you will be able to obtain my main body's true inheritance. As for you, O Lord Kenyang, you will die here today. Dongfang Changfan's star Will said slowly. Old Lord Kenyang took a step back. He spoke arrogantly. Although I am alone, you are only a group of rank 6 along with a mere will. You want to take my life? Don't forget that my ally is among you. There are also demonic path Gu immortals outside. They are like hungry wolves. Your phantom beast can't hold them off for long. Although he said that, his face showed a vigilant and alert expression. To live to his age and obtain such accomplishments, a vigilant nature was a necessary trait. Old Lord Kenyang's words were true. He attacked Dongfang tribe's weakness. That was also why Dongfang tribe's Gu immortals did not attack rashly despite having an advantage in numbers. Dongfang Chang. Fan's star Will laughed. During the remote antiquity era, star constellation Immortal Venerable, the creator of Wisdom Path, died, but she deduced matters over 1,000,000 years after her death. It caused 3 future demon venerables to return empty-handed, protecting Heavenly Court. Although I, Dongfang Changfan, am far inferior to star constellation Immortal Venerable, I can still somewhat deduce matters within 100 years after my demise. Since I made such an arrangement, I have my trump cards. Saying so, an illusory Gu formation appeared in the hall. Countless Gu worms flew around. They were like the threads of countless spiders, weaved in the large hall. Compared to this new formation, the Gu formation that Dongfang Yuliang was completing resembled a baby in front of an adult. Old Lord Kenyang saw this and his expression turned ugly. This is a phantom formation. To think that you, Dongfang Changfan, had such deep attainment in phantom path, you can actually set up a phantom formation. Ordinary Gu formations, once exposed, were easy to target and destroy. That was because the Gu worms that made up the Gu formation were of solid form. The Gu worms themselves were very fragile. Even the immortal-level spring-autumn cicada could be destroyed by Fang Yan if he squeezed it between his fingers lightly. But this phantom formation was a high-level method involving phantom path. It made all of the Gu worms in the Gu formation turn phantom, while not obstructing the effect of the Gu formation itself. The phantom beast could hold off Fang Yuan and the other demonic path Gu immortals for so long because of their ability to turn phantom. Once they turned phantom, no moves would have any effect on them. The star will displayed the Gu formation outright, not afraid of old Lord Kenyang destroying it. That was because the Gu formation had turned phantom. Old Lord Kenyang could only watch it activate. There was nothing he could do. As the Gu formation started to activate, a blinding light filled the hall. Ha ha ha! Old Lord Kenyang laughed loudly. Since I cannot do anything to the phantom formation, I will kill all of you instead. Everyone, be careful. He is attacking. Beware of the traitor. Do not be too careless. This is a life and death moment for our tribe. That's right. As long as we survive this, all will be smooth sailing. The Dongfang tribe. Gu immortals were all waiting in seriousness. They were deeply focused. Everyone, don't be anxious. For the time being, he can't get here. Dongfang Changfan's star Will was very calm. At the next moment, old Lord Kenyang charged over, but his movements were very slow. The fire that he shot out was originally very fast, but now it was slow like a snail. This is... Old Lord Kenyang quickly realized that he did not become slower. Instead, a mystical change had occurred to the space in front of him that could not be observed with the naked eye. The distance seemed short, but the space was condensed. I spent decades and immense effort to design this. Although this hall looks ordinary and is no different from the other halls, I had shifted most of the space path down marks on the corpse here. Although we and old Lord Kenyang are only tens of steps apart, our true distance is gigantic. The star Will said slowly, as expected of Lord Dongfang Changfan. Dongfang tribe Gu immortals were relieved. Their eyes were shining as they looked at the star Will with much admiration. The star will nodded. Now is the crucial moment. I will tell you the truth. This formation is a large formation, with my wisdom path immortal goo as the core, and blood path immortal goo as support. Once activated, the power will be overwhelming. It can shake heaven and earth. Furthermore, because of the blood path immortal goo, it has an amazing effect against goo immortals. As long as the goo formation is activated, not only can it kill Old Lord Kenyang, it can even slaughter all of the demonic path goo immortals in the sky. After this battle, my Dongfang tribe will be renowned in northern plains. Both the righteous and demonic paths and the other major forces would be greatly wary of us. After this battle ends, you can move this formation back to our blessed land. If Yu Liang can obtain my inheritance, he will be the person in charge of controlling this formation. Dongfang tribe's Gu immortals heard this and became excited. In contrast, Old Lord Kenyang's expression was unable to conceal his suspicion and wariness. The star will continued. My main body had formed an agreement with the righteous path super forces before dying, creating an alliance. But in this world, only power that one has in their own hands can best ensure safety. You must remember, do not unnecessarily place hope in others' hands. Dongfang tribe's Gu immortals nodded. They expressed that they had learned a lesson. Dongfang Yikong shouted, Lord Changfan, our tribe still has that traitor. No matter how vigilant we are, we can't defend against an internal threat. Don't be anxious, the star will laughed. I'm not finished yet. Everything has its advantages and disadvantages, gains and losses. This Gu formation is very powerful, but it has a severe drawback. To activate this Gu formation, it will need to use the immortal aperture origin core of Gu immortals. What? Many of Dongfang tribe's Gu immortals shouted in shock. The immortal aperture origin core was the foundation of the immortal aperture, the base of it all. Once it was drawn out, the painstakingly developed immortal aperture would reverse its progression, the space would shrink, and the primeval energy would dwindle. Life forms within would die en masse. The Gu immortal themselves would weaken instead of progressing. Once the time comes, heavenly tribulations or earthly calamities in the immortal aperture would be devastating. The shrinking of the immortal aperture would mean the weakening of the Gu immortal. They would die from disasters if they were not vigilant. Since their lives were at stake, Dongfang tribe's Gu immortals lost their bearings. But soon one Gu immortal stood up. It was Dongfang Wanshu. Rao. The people in the hall heard him speak. There cannot be benefits without losses. Lord Changfan had planned this with much difficulty, creating this situation now. For Dongfang tribe, what reasons do I have not to make such a sacrifice? That's right. Truly worthy of Lord Wanshu, I, Dongfang Yi Kong, will accompany you. Soon after, Dongfang Yi Kong also stood up. The Star Will smiled. He was silent as he looked at the others. The other Gu immortals looked at each other. Nodding quickly, they decided to eliminate the tribe's strong foes by sacrificing themselves. No need to rush. The Star Will waved his hand. He said slowly, I have something else to tell all of you. Once you enter the Gu formation, the immortal aperture origin core would start being extracted. By then, none of you would not be able to move or leave forcefully. Your lives and deaths will be in my control. Are you still willing? If you are not, you can step out now. The Gu immortals' expressions changed again. Dongfang Wanshuryu's eyes were shining with a lively light. He looked around and smiled coldly. Traitor, you should reveal yourself now. If not, it will be too late. Star Will's words were naturally for the traitor. As long as one thought about it, they would realize. If there was really a traitor, after hearing this, they would feel great mental pressure. Once they entered the formation, their life would not be in their own hands. If they were exposed when attacking Old Lord Kenyang later due to panic, then they would not be able to fight back at all. If there really was a traitor, they would have other goals and would not want to attack Old Lord Kenyang. They would not want their lives to be in the Star Will's hands. After that, a few breaths later, none of Dongfang tribe's Gu immortals in the hall stood out. All right, at this point I, Wanshu, have to admire you. No wonder you could conceal yourself in the tribe for so long and so deeply. Dongfang Wanshu said with much hatred. The star will laugh lightly. In that case, enter the formation. The Phantom Gu formation had 8 core points. The Dongfang tribe Gu immortals entered and occupied one each. The Gu formation activated slowly. The Gu immortals' expressions changed as they felt their immortal apertures tremble. A strong suction force was emitting from the formation. Relax your mind, cooperate with the formation, let it run fully. The star will was solemn. The Gu immortals were hesitant, but they eventually opened their immortal apertures and allowed traces of their immortal aperture origin cores to be drawn out, flowing out from the 8 core points of the formation. In the Phantom formation, a faint blood-colored light quickly surfaced. Under the effect of the blood-colored light, these 8 different immortal aperture origin cores converged in the Gu formation. They were actually fusing into one. This formation is really mystical. A Gu immortal saw this and could not help but praise. This is because all of you have Dongfang tribe's bloodline in you. Your bloodlines are close. Your origins are the same. Therefore, your bloodlines can mix, and your immortal aperture origin could fuse. Only by fusing could they accumulate in quantity and summon a huge force, Dongfang Changfan's star will slowly explain. The 8 Gu immortals in the formation nodded. Dongfang Wanshaoyu's eyes were shining with brilliance. He looked around but could not find out any flaws that could expose the traitor. No matter. The star will laughed lightly. In this situation, regardless of who the traitor is, they are already under my control. They are putting in strength for our tribe. Everyone relax. I am going to extract more of your immortal aperture origin cores. Go ahead. Right. We will kill all of these accursed demonic path Gu immortals. They dare to target our Dongfang tribe. The Phantom formation burst out in a bright light. The Gu immortals snorted as their expressions turned dark. Some of them were frowning, while others were feeling discomfort and pain. The immortal aperture origin cores were like lumps of water as they fused in the Phantom formation, converging into a huge force. They resembled a slumbering fierce beast. No matter who it was, anyone could feel that this force was huge. Even the surrounding air had ripples it in, as if it could not hold such power. Tito, the Gu immortals in Dongfang tribe had red faces. Some of their bodies were trembling. Some of them had ruthless expressions. They were all looking forward to this rampaging power. But this power was not unleashed yet under the control of the Star Will. It was prepared for release, but remained in place. No need to rush. The Star Will looked into the sky, at the chaotic battle. The phantom beast that obstructed the demonic path. Gu immortals were all slaughtered. Almost none were left. The Star Will was like a flood dragon, hiding in the river, waiting for the best time to strike. Once the time was right, the flood dragon would soar into the sky, overturning rivers and seas. By then, the unfortunate people would be the one charging at its front. Right at this time, Dongfang Yuliang stood up, shouting loudly, "Master, I did it! I succeeded in completing this Gu formation. I completed your request." The Star Will's gaze swept towards him. He showed a pleased smile. "Very good. Yuliang, you did not disappoint me. Enter the formation too. Stand at the center. Although you are immortal, you will need to ascend to immortal eventually. When the battle begins, you will experience the power of a Gu immortal. It will be of great help for your future." "Yes, Master. I will listen to you." Dongfang Yuliang's eyes were red. He was so moved he was choking back tears. He leaped, jumping into the air. With the power of the phantom formation, he stood in the formation's central core as he floated in the air. In the sky, despite unfettered scholar and Pishuihan's heavy disturbances, Fang Yuan finally found a chance. The sky in front of him was clear. There was nothing stopping him. The chance was only momentary. He latched onto it and flew down with minimal attention to his safety. 7 strength path giant hands slammed down. Only one was left protecting his body. It is time. The Star Will saw this and sighed lightly. Dongfang tribe. Gu immortals were all looking into the sky with much bloodlust. At the next moment, they saw old Lord Kenyang flying up, blocking Fang Yuan's attack as he forced a ladder back into the sky. Eh? This turn of events made all of the Dongfang tribe Gu immortals look on with stunned expressions. All of my efforts were not in vain. In forming this plot to regain my life through possession, now is the moment. The star will laughed loudly. He was extremely excited. Dongfang Chang. Fan's soul suddenly appeared, charging into the Phantom Formation center as he entered Dongfang Yulang's body. Haha, you bunch of fools. I will tell you the truth. The true traitor in Dongfang tribe is that beloved Lord Chang Fan of yours. Ha ha ha. Old Lord Kenyang was laughing maniacally.